David Menzies for Rebel News here in downtown Toronto. And folks, I'm outside the Toronto courthouse where my matter was supposed to be heard. Well, actually, it was supposed to be heard last month. It was put off to today, May 1st. And guess what? It's being put off till next month, June 5th at 9 a.m. Apparently, the Crown needs more disclosure. And what matter am I speaking of? Well, you might recall my cameraman, Efren Monsanto, and I went down in March to cover a Justin Trudeau fundraiser at the King Edward Hotel. And apparently, the Toronto Police Service has a pre-crimes unit, you know, like the Police and Minority Report had. I mean, Minority Report was a science fiction film, but it doesn't get any more real than the Toronto Police. Just will you see what they arrested me for. Check it out.
This is the King's Highway. I'm not going to move. Hey, what is going on here? We just want you to What's the problem?
Guys, excuse me. We're trying to put him behind the... Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy. Stop.
The police came and pulled David off the street as if it became suddenly a Sharia street, a mosque or something. And then they later arrested him.
Now, folks, before I get into the crux of the matter, here's the deal. I have been arrested 3 times in 4 months for the crime of practicing journalism. I need your help. Please go to standwithdavid.com. That's standwithdavid.com. If you can make a donation, I greatly appreciate that. And I want to personally reach out and thank all those who have already donated. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the formal charge is obstruct police. As you saw, their motivation seems to be that I might ask an insensitive question to the pro-Hamas demonstrators, who that night, in a de rigueur fashion, as we've seen going back to last October, were openly chanting for genocide on the streets of our great dominion.
Long live the Intifada!
Absolutely shocking, but it seems that the police, I guess their motivation is it's much easier to arrest a member of the independent press who might upset the mob than have to deal with hooligans that might lose their stuff when asked a so-called insensitive question. And hey, folks, get a load of this. I just got off the line with my lawyer, Leora Shemish, and evidently there is a deal afoot, although she has not seen any paperwork for it yet. And it's basically this. If I enter into a peace bond, which is essentially an agreement where I promise to behave myself, and if I make a statement that I agree I did something wrong that night, then this matter will go away. Well, guess what? It's not going away. I'm not entering into a peace bond. I did absolutely nothing wrong that night. I am not going to make a statement saying that I did something wrong that night because, quite frankly, that would be lying. In fact, I think those police officers that night should enter into a peace bond and make a statement of wrongdoing. This fiasco is all on them. And it just got worse last month. You might recall, again, Efren Monsanto and I were at Nathan Phillips Square, just across the street from this courthouse, actually, to cover the 6-month vigil that was being led by Pierre Poilievre. And again, I was arrested. Check it out.
Mr. Menzies. Hey, don't put your hands on me. I just want to make sure. Don't put your hands on me.
They can chant genocide in the street, and I can't cover that. Obey your oath, officer. Obey your oath.
Israel, I don't know.
Will you get? Listen, if I'm on the other arrest, get your hands off. Okay, then I will take. Okay, put your phone down. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for refusing to leave. Okay? Refusing to the wagon, Mr. Menzies.
Goodbye.
Efren, are you catching this?
Yeah.
Once again, you can have people 10 genocide in the streets of our democracy. You're under arrest for refusing to leave premises. Okay, Mr.
It's a public place. This is literally the public square.
And the charge that time, trespassing. That's right, literally in the public square where there was more than 2,000 people that day. I am the only one singled out for trespassing. Later this month, I'll be in court on that charge. It's absolutely astonishing. And I have to tell you, folks, do you not think there is a double standard at play here? That there is two-tier policing and, for that matter, a two-tier justice system. I speak of a story that appeared just a couple of days ago in the National Post, and I'll read the lead verbatim. A charge of publicly inciting hatred against a man who allegedly flew the flag of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine at a pro-Palestinian demonstration in Toronto earlier this year has been withdrawn. The federal government describes the goals of the PFLP, which was formed in 1967, as, quote, the destruction of the state of Israel and the establishment of a communist government in Palestine, end quote. The man's lawyer, Shane Martinez, said the charge was, quote, withdrawn by the Crown Attorney on account of there being no reasonable prospect of conviction, end quote. So did you get that, folks? Somebody who was waving a flag that is a recognized terrorist group here in Canada. There is no reasonable prospect of conviction, evidently, but for a journalist of the independent media, for potentially asking an impolite question, well, let's put him through the process. And that's the thing. Here I am, it's going into month 3 of this charge. And really, isn't the process the penalty? I mean, I have other things to do. I have other stories to cover. But am I going to come back to this courtroom month after month while the prosecution claims they need more time for disclosure? What do they need? Look at the video. Clearly, there was no crime being committed unless, again, independent journalists potentially upsetting a mob of hooligans is a crime. One last thing. Several weeks ago, Toronto Police Chief Demkiw met with Prime Minister Trudeau. What was the reason for that meeting? Chief Demkiw does not answer to the Prime Minister. What was said? Was the Prime Minister giving orders to Chief Demkiw? Tell the rank and file to turn a blind eye to chants for genocide, vandalism, even assault. And oh, by the way, if there's any pesky independent media types asking questions, well, throw the book at them. Chief Demkiw, was that the nature of the discussion? Because really, there is no way you should be meeting the Prime Minister. Once again, you do not answer to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So, folks, I will be back in this courtroom Monday, June 5th, 9 a.m. Hopefully by then, there's enough time for disclosure, but I'm not hopeful. Like I said, in Toronto of 2024, which is undergoing a crime wave, by the way, from auto theft to assault and murder, evidently this is something that the police and the Crown are obsessed with. Unbelievable. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Well, folks, as I've mentioned previously, I have actually been arrested 3 times in the span of 4 months for the egregious crime of what? Practicing unauthorized journalism. Please, I need your help to fight these charges. Go to standwithdavid.com. That's standwithdavid.com. And if you can, please make a donation.